Hi everyone, my name is Malaika Foster and I am afraid of bees. I am Michaeli Foster and I like bees. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. I am Mahari Foster and I can tolerate bees. Fighting. So we are at the apiary today, or some may call it the apiary, or some people in Jamaica may call it the bees bush. Whatever you call it. We are going to be taking care of bees with our wonderful father today. Well, we have the privilege of always having organic honey because our father has an apiary. I love the honey, but when it comes on to who makes the honey, or sorry, what makes the honey, we don't actually have we have a rocky relationship, dating back from when I was about 6 years old, when I sat on the little hellion called a bee and it stung me. And then recently I stepped on one because dad had carried home some honey and somehow it had slithered into our home, and so I stepped on it. And those 2 times were some of the most horrible times that I have experienced in my poor young life. So today is going to be about facing fears, having fun on my part.
Yes. Have you ever gotten stung by a bee?
Yes, I actually stung myself on 2 fingers, these 2 fingers, because I wanted to feel what a bee sting felt like. And
So
let's just say, yes, I kind of used a tweezer and pinched it and it stung me. And let's just say it wasn't a pleasant feeling, but I'm quite intrigued by bees. So going into their habitat, going into their home and seeing how things work, this is going to be quite interesting. I have never gotten stung by a bee and I intend to keep it that way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, follow us as we get into the apiary and learn how bees work and what we can derive from the workings of bees. Let's go.
Downtrodden by family and friends. Less down by one.
Hello everybody, we're now suited up, ready to go.
And at your
Warming up
ropes
time.
end,
Let's go. Let's go.
I know
I'm ready for this.
come out
Are you ready, Laika?
victorious in the end. Hard pressed.
If you want to know who the scared one is, just look for this camouflage outfit and you'll know who it is. Or just look for the person that will be holding on to one of us and you'll know.
Alright, so everybody is suited up and ready to go. Today is gonna be the tail of the tape.
No, Grandpa. You'll have to lend Malaika because she's the most scared of the bees.
Come on, they don't need no gloves, am I right? Today is the tail of the tape. I know we've been planning this a long time to introduce the girls to the bees, to the other side of the family. They've been running, especially one particular person has been running. Nonetheless, we're ready to go. This equipment that I have in my hand is called a smoker.
Smoker. Okay.
Right. This is what we use to create smoke. So we put some elements in here. There are things that are sold for that, but we use natural things in the environment. So I use some dried banana leaves and light it, and it creates smoke. And the smoke we use to puff inside of the hive, that is used to calm the bees.
Okay.
So in calming the bees, it is the hope that in going inside of the hive to work, then the bees will not be agitated and become aggressive and attack.
Well, just
right.
dose them extra today because I don't want any stings.
Now, this other tool is called a hive tool.
Hive tool.
Yeah, it is a very multifaceted tool. One of the main things that we use it to do is to pry the cover of the hive open, because what the bees do is that they seal the cover tight, and so removing the cover sometimes is very difficult.
Can be
We
an
also
issue.
use it to pry frames.
So as we're going that, could you tell me a little bit about your job in the ministry? Because some people might think that three of us are the only ones in this ministry, but I assure you that wear so many hats in our ministry.
So regarding what I do in the ministry, for me, I don't like the camera, so I prefer to stay behind the camera rather than before it. So I try to hold the camera steady and to record, to do the one the video.
And today Mom
Right now
has that
you'll
job.
realize that I am actually before the camera, so somebody else is doing it. So just in case the camera is not steady, you know who is behind it.
Mom!
I think she's doing a good job, ladies
An
and
awesome
gentlemen.
job.
Nonetheless, so I do videoing. I also deal with the audio recording for the home videos. I do the editing of the audio. I deal with the video editing as well. I deal with the different social media pages. I try to balance that. It's a lot of work.
And he's also the manager. So,
and
one of the
we
managers.
share responsibilities. So
Mom
Nicole
and
and I
Dad.
were heavily involved in terms of responding to messages,
Taking calls.
taking calls, the messages that comes in through WhatsApp, and there are many. I assure you,
Thousands.
we receive quite a bit of messages, and sometimes if you don't receive a response immediately,
Yep.
it is because it's a process. So sometimes it takes us a while before we get to all of them.
So, in other words, Dad has a big job, and not only does he have the job as a father to handle, and we can be very,
we can be a handful.
we can be a
It's
handful.
4 girls after
Four
all.
girls in the house,
You know, wife and then 3 daughters.
right?
Bless his heart.
So he has to deal with the ministry, he has to deal with the bees, and he has to deal with us. Now, don't you think that's a lot of work? It is. So we know that you wear many hats in the ministry because it's a ministry of 5. How do you balance your work in the ministry plus beekeeping? How do you do that?
Regarding that, it has been a challenge, and for the last few seasons I have not reaped sufficient honey, and the main reason for that is during the dearth period. That's during the time when the bees do not find a lot of nectar to keep the apiary going in terms of food. What we do is that we have to provide a food substitute for them. And the reason for that is during the honey season, beekeepers take the honey from the bees, and so they would normally be storing the honey for the time when there is actually no food available. So when we take their food, during the times now when there is no food available, we have to give them a replacement. We have to provide an alternative. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is the time when the bees really need me to do all of this work, unfortunately that's the time when we're either traveling or we are so heavily involved in ministry that it affects the feeding of the bees. But nonetheless, ministry is a very rewarding thing. But apart from being rewarding, it is something that the Lord has laid on us, and so we do it without complaints.
So everybody, that was the basic explanation of how Dad balances ministry and apiculture. Malaika, you should probably hold the smoker.
Right, and just spray them when they come at me. I should do that. I am reporting from inside the car. I am never going back. I'm never coming back to the apiary again. I had an unfortunate experience. I was feeling so hot and dizzy, so I went to sit in the shade, only to look through my veil and see a bee inside my veil staring at me. So as you can tell, I almost had a panic attack, and I just tried to get it out as quickly as possible. I took off the veil and I ran to the car, and so this is where I am hiding out, regretting coming here in the first place.